Hey there, welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. This is our weekly show where we talk about 2 to 3 interesting tech topics. Get you in about 15, 20 minutes. You know, we always like to talk about these things. If you have an idea for a show, send it to us. Creation Station at broward.org comes right to me, and we will be able to get your ideas onto the show. Today, I've got a special guest. How are you doing, Miss Lisa?
I am doing great. Thank you, Bob. Thanks for having me.
Oh, glad to. So normally I say, and so you can go see Lisa at this branch. However, we are in luck today because how many more days?
One.
See, craziness. That is just craziness. Lisa's retiring in one more day, so we got her on the show just beforehand. It's an amazing thing. So thank you very much for helping us out and doing this time. It's a
My
great,
pleasure.
great fit. And we'll talk about what's going on out at the branch at the end here. But there's some interesting stuff going on in the news, as always. And of course, the big news this week was the Webb telescope. Did you pay attention
Mhm.
to when Webb showed up there?
Yes. Yeah, on the 24th, it was January 24th, I think it docked. It finally
Yeah.
made its full entry and it hit its destination up there.
Yeah, it's amazing. So they managed to fit it in right where it's supposed to be. There's a couple
Amazing.
of really good articles about how complicated it was, all the stuff that they went through. Now, to be clear, the telescope's not operating yet. It's now in position, and now all the little mirrors have to be adjusted and aligned and put together just right. So it's going to be about June before we start seeing real pictures. But there were two new things for the web that I really liked that I wanted to show off. One was a home astronomer took this picture of the web out
Oh,
there,
whoa.
out in the world. Now, I know you can't really tell where in the heck that is. So I'm going to show you the video part of it down here. And you can see this tiny little bit right there. That little dot moving right there. That's the
Yeah.
web arriving in location.
Huh. Wow.
They just got pure luck of pointing their telescopes out there at the right time, of getting it just when the web arrived to park. Because once it's parked, it's in its orbit, it's going to be a lot harder to find it from any Earth telescopes. And of course,
Amazing.
the 2 or 3 times we've talked about Webb on this show, we've gone to Where Is Webb Now? And just to point out to you, it is still up. That website is still up. NASA's didn't just take it down, and they have an entire new thing out there. So if anyone's interested in what's going on, there's a full 3D solar system now as attached to this. And when you click on it, you can see where things
Whoa.
are, how the web is oriented today, what's going on with it. You can go through the full solar system of where everything is, or just do the inner solar system where Earth and
Huh.
everything is. It's a lot of fun. You've got to go play with
I've
this,
never done
everyone.
that. Can you
Yeah.
put the link in the chat box or something?
Yeah, it will be there for everybody. And it's
Okay.
Where Is Web, and it's a part of the NASA site. It'll be a great thing there. Um, but yeah, isn't that so much fun?
That is great. We started to take up looking through the astronomy. I bought a
Hmm.
telescope for myself and my daughter. We didn't
Nice.
have luck. We couldn't see out of it. We couldn't figure it out. So we're on the market looking for one that we can see out of.
Well,
As we go
what
out
kind
at
of one
night
did you
and we
use?
look,
Do you know what you
it was
used?
it was one from National Geographic, Sharper Image had it was a
Okay.
refractor, um,
Okay.
70 millimeter lens, I think.
Makes
I
sense.
know
That makes sense.
we could not see. We could see a light from the street, but we couldn't see any
Yeah.
planets or stars. To see
So,
pictures like this that you're showing is unbelievable.
oh yeah, and that is. I'm looking it up right now for you live here on the air as we go. I will find my it is called Astro. I will put it in the show notes. There is a field. There's a Sky Map is the app I was thinking about.
Mm,
Sky Map is available to download, and you can use that to help set up your telescope. And you can also use that to um, see exactly where a
Sky
particular
map.
star, planet, anything is at the moment, because it knows through GPS where you are on the planet, and you can just point it around to find it, and then align your telescope to see it. And also remember, folks, if
Nice.
you're
That's
in a crowded area, in an urban area like a good chunk of Broward County is down here in South Florida, you're going to want to go out west, get away from the light pollution to be able to view and do all these sorts of things. That's why those amateur astronomers like that, those are always like people out in Arizona, people who are out in the deserts
yes.
and getting a chance to get away. So it might not be a problem with your telescope, it just might be where you were trying to
Yeah.
see stuff.
Yeah, I know
Don't give
Markham Park
don't give up
is
hope.
a big site,
Yes.
Markham Park, and they have an astronomy club in Weston.
Yes, they do. And Markham has telescope things that they do every so often. So come back and double check on
Mm,
broward.org/parks, and they have
yes.
all that there. Yeah, it's a great thing. And this is what we all do. This is what librarians do. We all hang out with everybody else in the county, and we work on all these different things together. It's a great imaginative thing.
Fun.
Speaking
Very
of
fun.
imagination, though, the
Mhm.
Tonga earthquake slash volcanic eruption slash tidal wave slash all of the
Mm.
chaos that happened there earlier this month.
Let's-
They don't have internet still because they have to go get to fix the cable that runs underneath. So I've got a map here, a picture of this. These are all of the various cables that run under the oceans so that the internet works.
Huh.
And so what happens is when, in this case, part of the cable down there just snapped. Now, these are not small things. These are cables that are multiple inches thick because of all the insulation and protective barriers around them. So when something does like that, it's big. They get damaged every so often by like a ship's anchor or something, which is why they've got maps of where they are and all these sorts of things. But if you're out in Hawaii, as an example, that's how you get internet, is because you've got an undersea cable that runs from San Francisco area down and across the Pacific to do this, just like those original telegraph cables that ran from England to New York, or actually Nova Scotia in Canada, and then down to New York, back when the telegram was first starting. So it's a great thing.
Wow, you know what? When you see the visual,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I never ever even realized that. Not the depth of this, all
How
of
much
that,
goes in?
the
I know.
the
And
water.
all of these little dots, if you're concerned about like the Caribbean in our area here, that's why Miami is so important. You'll see all these nodes right here. They're all
Wow.
converging right on Miami, because Miami is one of the key areas for all of these cables coming across the Caribbean and South America and
Hmm.
coming into the terrestrial network on the continental United States.
That's
So
just
yeah,
amazing.
isn't it? It's just craziness. So what they actually do and how they fix it is they send a signal, because it's light that goes through it. They can tell how long the light goes before it stops working, and they can
Hmm.
send a ship out there, drag the cable up off of the ocean floor, repair it, which is actually going through, finding the one end, finding the other end that's broken, and then splicing in new cable in between the two. They actually use lasers because you have to be able to melt the fiber again to reconstruct it and rebuild it. So you have to have nice, clean, sharp edges and stuff like that. It's a whole new thing. But people tend to think, well, I'll just call up on my cell phone and it'll work. The only reason your cell phone works to call Europe is because it goes to a station in New York, Miami, whatever, and it gets transmitted over these cables to a cell tower in Europe and then goes that way. Or you're using a satellite phone, which is the backup that they had. They had a 15-year deal that they signed with a company back in 2019 after a previous break for satellite phones, and they're finding out it wasn't such a great deal because the satellites can't get out because there's too much ash in the air from the volcano, And so all that volcanic ash stops the satellite signals, and so your satellite phones don't work.
Wow. So they don't send robots down, they actually pull up the cable
Yeah, they
in
actually pull up the
boats?
cable and do it. Yeah, they go out there and do that. Now they have some
Boy,
submersibles that do that kind of stuff too, depending
uh-huh.
upon where in the ocean it is. They've been known to send down human submersibles or the robotic drone ones.
That would make more
So yeah,
sense to
yeah,
do the
but
robotics and then do it from up.
it depends on how far down the cable is and how easy it is to do those repairs. Yeah,
I bet
they've got
nobody
whole
hears
ships that
about
do this.
this.
It's crazy. I know it's one of those weird things. It's just like those in the background. It's like the repairmen who take care of the internet for you.
Yeah, that's
And you
good.
complain about your cable company being slow. Just imagine how hard it's going to be to get the ship out there. It's a 2-week journey for the ship to get there and be able to drag up that cable and fix it.
It's just amazing that like fish don't nibble at it
Oh,
or,
they
or
do.
corals that
They
break it that
do.
way, you know?
They've got whales that have taken good chunks out of these cables sometimes and stuff like that. They've got special sheathing on it that they've learned over
Wow.
the years because of that.
Hmm,
And
thanks for
speaking of
sharing
how,
that.
yeah, and speaking of how long ago, our next story, this was an interesting one because I saw this part of the story first. And 23andMe, and if you do any kind of genealogical research or just want to do your own fun little DNA testing stuff, 23andMe is one of the large ones that's out there that does this. And it's been 10 years now that they've been putting out product, that they've been doing
10
things.
years. Wow.
Yeah, 2013 was the time that they had their first kits really coming out. And well, 16 years total since our kits, but when they went public and started really doing a big thing. Um, the reason I bring it up is because, as it says right here in their headline, the cost of doing DNA sequencing has now come down by 99.99% from where it was back when they started 16 years ago. So
Hmm.
they're able to do this kind of stuff and make it so much cheaper, starting in 2006 and moving on till now.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
really
that's
good. You know,
great, isn't it?
DNA is great. My family has done the DNA. We used Ancestry for it,
Mm-hmm.
and we just found relatives and cousins, and we traced the history back to where the families originated from. And it's very exciting. It's really
Yeah,
just DNA, the little snippets of everything connect you to somebody else. DNA for medical purposes is just wonderful. You can have it analyzed, your DNA analyzed, and they can break it down to different medical conditions that you're prone to or that you may already have, that you have a tendency to go for. And
yeah,
that shows up in the DNA, in the blood. Um, and then
yeah.
you
And that's
in
what this other
research.
story is. Yeah, that's this other story. Wasn't that amazing? So in the Atlantic this week, there's a story about how this one super rare brain mutation, and they started investigating it because they had a family in Mississippi that had this mutation, and it turns out everyone in their family has it. And so they're trying to track down some details about it. And they find some other people a couple states away who have the exact same mutation, and then some other people who have the exact same mutation. And now they're trying to figure out how is this happening. And there's a quote as one of the doctors doing the research, he said, it got to the point where I knew if you were in Oklahoma, if you lived in this part of the state, I knew you probably had this thing. And it turns out it's because they're all related. Not that anybody knew it,
Well,
but they did. A person from Duke, a geneticist who was studying these mutations, started going through some history. They brought in some genealogy people. The family started working themselves out, doing a thing on Ancestry and getting in all this stuff. And then they find out back in 2018, they got two other sections of the family tree linked together on Ancestry. And they found out that it's all from one couple in 1760s in North Carolina moved west.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're talking the Louisiana Purchase. And their
And
family migrated and moved and eventually, they keep having children and they split up and they don't even know anymore where people are living and going on because the territory is so huge and people just left. And so their great, 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 great grandchildren now are being able to use the 23andMe DNA testing to find these mutations and help other people in the extended family that never even knew they could possibly have this. But now it's like, oh, wait, we found you on Ancestry. You should go get tested so you can see whether you have this disease because it might just cause you to have a stroke.
mm, and now knowing that if they can get to them early enough, they can do something to the genetics and change the DNA.
Yep.
That's what the current medical is trying to do. The community
Yeah.
is
And
to
it's
change the DNA.
isn't it amazing for that? I mean, I was like just so flabbergasted on how quickly times have changed. 'Cause you think about it, well, like, oh no, well, like the DNA testing thing's really fast, and we haven't really done a lot with it yet. It's like, no, we're all almost 20 years in now, and it's really spread out to a lot of different people and a lot of different things are happening. And now we're able to do all this extra research. And like you said, finding out what kind of things might be happening in your family or finding out for yourself what's going on or what you might be susceptible to. And so I was just like, wow, this is what science is supposed to be doing.
You're right.
Try to make the world a little bit better, right?
You're right. Because if you know that you carry a genetic mutation, you can take care of yourself better to prevent or to try to
Yeah.
prevent anything worse from happening, you know, from you. But not just the medical part, but you can find lots of cousins. And there have been cases where, like, adopted children, they're searching for their birth
Yep.
families. And they found them. They found mothers, they found brothers, stepbrothers, and at the libraries, I'm sure you're aware. I don't know if you want me to bring this up
Yeah, of
now
course.
or,
Tell
or
us. Yeah,
later.
fill it
Okay.
in. Fill it in. Come
Um,
on. We
we
got to
have,
give it away.
we offer databases. We offer Ancestry for free at the library. You can research your ancestors. You can research your genealogy and find, or if you don't want your own family, you can research anybody's family by looking. You put parameters in, you put areas if you know when someone was born. Really, if you know yourself, though, if you've done the DNA testing, you upload your DNA to the site, and then it matches you with people that share your DNA. You can get close relatives or relatives that are your fifth cousins or your great, 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 great grandparents. It is a wonderful tool, especially if you're a only child and you want to find other cousins, or again, if you were adopted, or if you have a medical issue and you need to find out if anyone else in the family has had, just like Bob was talking about that family. And we have
Yeah,
access to that. It doesn't cost you anything to use Ancestry. You can
exactly.
save your
You
work. You
can,
can
if you
print
really
it,
want to,
anything.
feel free to go pay $30 a month to Ancestry
Right.
or come
That's
to the
more than that.
library for free. Come
Right.
on, people, right? And we did a show just on this, on our monthly show where we talk about one topic. Back last August, we
Okay.
had genealogy
Right.
where we had LaBrenda Garrett Nelson, who is the president of the Genealogical Society in the United States. And she
Mm.
was on talking about how people do their research and what it's like to go find your family members and all that stuff. So please, you can find that right there on the same page where you find the things for this show,
Yes.
or email us creationstation@broward.org. We'll send you a direct link if you need it. Didn't the time just flies right on by, doesn't it, Lisa? Can you
Yes, it does. I can't believe
imagine?
that now. It's
We're
4:20
already,
already.
I know, bam. Thank you for spending your last days with us. This was a lot of fun. I'm very glad we
Thank you
could
for
get you in
having me.
before
I'm
you're
honored to
gone.
be here.
So
Thank
now what are
you.
you going to be doing afterwards? What's Friday going to
Finding
be
those.
like for you?
Well, I'm off tomorrow. I'm off Monday, and Tuesday is my last day. That's why I
Okay.
said it's my one day last. And
Yeah.
then I find myself, I'll delve more into my genealogy.
Or finding
and
just that chance to do, right? The chance just
right,
to
to be.
to be in control of your own time. That's an
Yes,
awesome thing.
long time coming.
Yeah, it's
Thank
gonna
you.
be so much fun for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very
Do you
much.
want to point out? Let's throw up our final slide here for everyone. If there is a
Okay.
favorite librarian you want to see featured on the show, or a particular library you'd like to see, Creation Station at Broward.org comes right to us, and we'll try to get them on. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe.